everyone. My name is April, and I have been doing this for over 10 years. And this is Susie. She's our social media and Reddit extraordinaire. She's been at it for like 15 years. We're excited to talk about one of our favorite things today. It's just like a brief description of what Reddit is in case you don't know, although it's been all over the news with Google's partnership. Reddit is a user-generated news aggregation service. Redditors can contribute articles, images, text posts, and comments to communities known as subreddits, and there's subreddits in every topic imaginable. If you tell me a hobby that you have, I can find you the perfect subreddit. Just any interest that you have, there's something out there for everyone. It's really an extraordinary resource for many reasons. Posts and comments can be upvoted or downvoted by users, which is part of why we enjoy using it for marketing. It's kind of trained us to create content that can pass their scrutiny and create content that real people genuinely enjoy. There's popular communities like our Picks, our Ask Reddit, just all kinds of things. And actually, Susie had an Ask Reddit experience recently that shows that journalists look at subreddits, if you want to talk about that.
Sure, yeah. I recently had a journalist reach out to me on Reddit via an Ask Reddit post I posted months ago, and said they were going to be writing about it in their pop culture website and asked me to share a few comments. And this is something I posted, it was probably almost a year ago. So it just proves the staying power of Reddit, and even something you post a long time ago can still gain traction months and months later. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's really like a lot of journalists are looking at Reddit now, especially more than ever. A lot of news websites, journalists, big websites, and we've definitely seen posts of ours be super successful in certain subreddits and then quite quickly get picked up by big publications afterwards. And although we can't like directly prove that it's from that, there's a pretty good chance that a lot of our most successful viral marketing campaigns have been Reddit has been the fuel on the fire for our success in those departments.
Definitely.
So Reddit has been a big part of our marketing strategy for years. I feel like not a lot of agencies do it. I can't really think of any off the top of my head of other ones that do it, unless they're just so good at it we don't know. But I made this image not long ago. Success on Reddit can earn traffic, powerful links, brand awareness, social signals, search engine rankings, especially now with the Google partnership, topical authority, because we'll get more into all that, but an audience insights and more. So Reddit can be really powerful if you know how to do it, but it's a very challenging marketing platform.
I think that's why we haven't noticed a lot of other agencies or brands getting into Reddit marketing, because as we have experienced, it is a very difficult niche to get into. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of getting to know individual subreddits as well as how Reddit works as a whole. So I think you need to not only just know about Reddit, but like every subreddit you post into, you have to know their exact rules and what they allow and what performs well.
We've spent over a decade learning the mechanics of it, and we've had our successes and our failures. I think like I try to act like myself mostly, like that's my approach. Just go to the subreddits I find entertaining and interact with them. Just try to approach it as you would if you were genuinely enjoying it. As Todd Jones said, he likes to peruse Reddit, but it seems tricky for marketing, and that's very true. But the fact that you like to peruse it and you enjoy the content is the first step. You need to approach it like a human being.
Right, exactly. You have to act as the user more than the marketer, I think, because a lot of bad things can happen if you do it from a purely marketing standpoint. I mean, the least worst thing that could happen is that no one cares about what you're posting and you just get downvoted into oblivion. But I mean, the worst thing that could happen is that your domain is banned from being posted on Reddit or your account, and that kind of thing is very difficult to come back from. So I think it's worth taking the extra time to learn the mechanics and culture of Reddit before you start dabbling in it.
Definitely. We're very, very cautious in our approach.
One thing I do want to bring up, because I think we were talking about this the other day, is that there are a lot of black hat methods of doing Reddit, like buying upvotes, buying accounts that have karma, which is basically just fake internet points on Reddit. And a lot of marketers will buy that as a shortcut to try to get their content go more viral on Reddit, and I don't think I've ever seen that not backfire.
Yeah. Oh my God. I saw a news article saying like, here's the best websites to buy upvotes from. And that's like the worst possible thing you can do, because Reddit definitely has really intricate algorithms and there's mods and it's very heavily moderated, both mechanically moderated and human moderated. And they can definitely tell if there's like an influx of unnatural upvotes, and in that domain that you're marketing to can get blacklisted forever. We've had incidences where we've had a client who had gotten himself blacklisted way before we came into the picture, and it's like you can't really come back from that. It's like, so you have to be extremely careful. We're very cautious with our clients' domains. We put a lot of effort and time and research into how to make them thrive on Reddit.
And I think that particular client, the efforts for our marketing plan were severely hindered by their blacklisted domain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing to think about. Your campaigns moving forward are really going to be hurt by that. And another thing I wanted to bring up, the people on Reddit, aside from the moderators and the AI that are kind of looking out for this stuff, just average Redditors can spot BS a mile away.
Yeah,
like if they think, yeah, if you come off as being overly marketing or spammy or something like that, you'll get called out in a second. Mm-hmm. So that's another reason it's very important to be natural in your mm-hmm. in your promotion. And you can also be what's called shadow banned on Reddit, where they'll ban your account, but you won't know. They'll mm-hmm. still allow you to post and comment and things like that, but no one else can see it. So that's another thing to be careful of if you are going into this blind or with nefarious intention.
Do you have a recommended resource on marketing with Reddit? The newsletter that Anne just published definitely delved into a lot of like some of the techniques that we use. I guess we can get into like basic tips for marketing on Reddit. So make sure when you make an account, try to cultivate your account naturally, interact with things that you enjoy, talk to people, ask questions.
Yeah, people will undoubtedly click your username and look at your post history. And if you look suspicious, they will call you out in that main thread. So as another reason to look good, because if they click on your username and see all you're posting is links from your website, they're going to be like, oh, this is a spam bot or something like that, you know?
A big part of how our success is like creating content that we know will do well on Reddit. And Reddit is actually a great resource for coming up with those content ideas. So it's all about being helpful and being a part of the community. So if you have a client, let's say in the auto industry, and then you can go to the various automotive subreddits, like our cars, our auto, there's a bunch of them. And you can see, like, you can sort by top, sort by hot, like there's different ways you can look at what's on there, and organize it by time frame. Like you can see the top of the last week or the top of the last month, the top of last year, and you can see what people are talking about and see what's interesting to them and see if there's any like pain points that they have or things that are really popular with them that they enjoy talking about. And you can get content ideas that way. Like you can create something that answers those questions. Content that does well on Reddit tends to be like timely content, data-driven graphics, breaking news, and just unique angles. There's so many different ways to find content ideas on Reddit. And you can even go to a subreddit and ask questions and see, like, that can spark ideas. It's just becoming a part of the communities. And then naturally, I feel like you develop an idea what appeals to them.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I think Ask Reddit can also be a good resource for that, because you can ask specific questions about content that might be related to your website and get ideas for what people are actually interested in, and you can create content from there.
Mm-hmm, definitely. I mean, it is true. Like a lot of the principles that we apply to Reddit are social media 101. That's true. But I feel like Reddit is so much more protective of their website. They hate commercial content. They hate being sold to. They hate things that aren't helpful. They will sniff out like if there's an angle very easily. And I feel like social media is generally a little bit more open to being marketed to and being sold to. Whereas Reddit's purely, they want things to be helpful. They want to keep communities pure and actually beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, on social media, you could do nothing but post links to your website one after the other, and your website's never going to get banned from Facebook or from X, Twitter. But if you do that on Reddit, there are more dire consequences, and I think people are more likely to call you out for that. No one's going to call you out for doing that on your branded social media accounts, whereas they definitely will on Reddit.
Definitely. Reddit threads actually rank highly on SERPs now, thanks to the partnership. And previously, I feel like over time, we've been seeing more and more of our content show up in the featured snippets of a Reddit post, or just be high on the fold because they did successful on Reddit. There's been a bunch of those, and it's been happening more and more. So that's another advantage to marketing on Reddit versus just other social media platforms, because they don't have that reach and visibility. What are your favorite subreddits to explore just for fun?
I'll answer, but I also want to hear yours because I know we talk about this a lot in our team meetings. Some of my favorite fun ones to look at are our nostalgia, which they share a lot of like photos and discussions about things that were popular. I mean, I know we grew up kind of like in the 90s era, so it's a lot of stuff like that. That is really fun to look at. I also am very big into movies, so I like the movies subreddit and the pop culture chat subreddit. Those are really fun ones to engage in. Yeah. What about you?
I love wholesome memes. There's like I actually post a lot of like wholesome memes that I find myself on different social media platforms in there.
Right.
And that's a really fun one. And I actually go on our relationship advice a lot and just read like stories and try to offer advice, even though I generally enjoy helping people that way.
What qualities do you think are important for being effective at Reddit marketing?
Definitely a lot of patience, because Reddit marketing is not like a drop a link and go kind of strategy. It's not an easy or quick marketing strategy. So definitely patience and empathy, just generally interacting with people, engaging with people, like listening to them, like that's important. And these are qualities that are important in social media and marketing in general, but I think they're especially important on Reddit when the communities are so fierce and protective of their content. Creativity is also really important. Like you have to come up with different angles. A couple of weeks ago, I did like a Today I Learned post, but I also incorporated the client's content in it, and it did super well. Reddit does keep track of how many times an account posts to certain domains. So that's another reason why you have to be being natural and also providing other links, posting other links of things that you find interesting. One strategy is Wikipedia articles, like just find like a really interesting one, something that you've learned that you find interesting, and post it in Today I Learned or something. And that usually performs really well. There's lots of things you can do. You can search news articles in different niches and get that and post it. And just make sure you read and see if it's been posted before, because Reddit also hates reposts. So sometimes they're kind of like 50-50, but I
agree with everything you said. I think also being a stickler for the rules is important.
Oh, definitely.
Every subreddit has their own set of rules as to what you can post. Some are images only, some are text only. Some have a really strict moderation policy where a moderator has to approve your content before it even sees the light of day on the subreddit. So being very careful to read the rules before you post will save you a lot of time and frustration. And yeah, just basically reading comprehension when you're posting. Like, read the room. Is this something that's appropriate for this subreddit? Don't just look at what the subreddit is called. Look at like the culture of what people are posting. Does it fit here? Are people that are subscribed to this subreddit going to resonate with this? I think that's important as well. Yeah.
Just respecting the rules, definitely.
Exactly.
Also, I think having like a thick skin or not taking things personally is really important. And also just knowing when, like, not being so like if something's getting downvoted right away, like for me personally, if something's being downvoted right away, or if it's getting negative feedback right away, I'll delete it and just try again somewhere else. Like, you just have to be willing to start over again or try something different. You just got to be flexible and not take things personally. Yeah, you aren't going to trick the Reddit moderators and admins, so you need to follow the rules to succeed. And that's so true. Like, there's no space for like black hat strategies or manipulation or that kind of thing. You just Gotta be genuine.
And to what you were saying, I know we had been talking about like how to react to troll comments or people that are maybe pointing out what they determine or perceive to be inaccuracies in your content, just how we approach that. And like you said, killing with kindness. I think getting argumentative or defensive is the worst thing you can do.
Like, you don't want to add more fuel to the fire, and people will, like, you just want to handle it with grace.
Exactly. And then they're also going to be like, why are you so defensive over this? Like,
yeah, exactly.
They're going to know exactly what you're doing, and it's just going to come off as really disingenuous. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think I always kind of say something kind, point them in the direction of, like you said, where we got the data, how
Yeah, that's what I
the
did
points.
yesterday.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's the best way to handle it. And if they still are arguing with you, just ignore it.
Yeah, I just got disengaged, definitely.
Exactly. There's people that are going to argue with you at any point on the internet. So,
and it's as frustrating as it can be. In a way, I'm grateful that for Redditors being that way, is because they have basically trained us to create content that will. We're very detail oriented. We have a very thorough editing process. We're very careful about the data sources that we use, or the angles that we take. We never try to create content that's misleading, because Reddit will pick that stuff apart. So Reddit has basically trained us to be better marketers, and in turn that has really helped our clients' content go viral in many instances, because we're creating content for people, by people. And I don't know, it's been like we've had a mutually beneficial relationship for a long time.
I agree. I think Reddit has trained us to be better at what we do. And not that we've ever been necessarily bad, but if you just get a couple people calling you out on something, it just raises your game to the next level for the next piece of content that you're going to do. And especially the humiliation you feel when something you post on Reddit is like torn apart. You're like, I don't want this to happen again.
You must do better.
Exactly. So I think that's really elevated our process for sourcing materials, writing materials, and things like that.
And we'll get new ideas from their feedback too, about things we can do better. Or people will be like, well, this is interesting, but I would like to also know this. And then that gives us an opportunity to create something that we know that people want to know that stuff.
Absolutely.
So it all works out really well. So then next question, does anyone have any questions in the audience before I keep going? Doesn't look like it. Okay. So what's a common misconception you hear about Reddit often?
I think some people think that it is maybe a waste of time to learn the ins and outs of how Reddit works. Especially if you are a website owner or you're doing SEO, there are a million things on your plate. But I think in our experience, especially, learning Reddit has been so fruitful for us. How many links we've gotten, how much social media traction, viral traffic to websites. So I think it's been one of the most valuable things that we've added to our work.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and it does take a while to learn how Reddit works, but just don't be intimidated by it. Just put in the work, and yeah, I think it's definitely valuable that way. What about you?
I guess a common misconception that I see sometimes is that like Redditors are just like angsty teenagers, or they don't know what they're talking about. But there's a lot of like really reputable, smart, intelligent people that use Reddit, like who are experts in their field. They're often like the moderators in subreddits. Like Reddit's very heavily moderated, and I feel like the quality of the content in turn is fantastic. And there's a huge wealth of knowledge on Reddit. Like you can find out anything. It's like I guess Quora. It's kind of like Quora, but next level, like Quora times 1,000. It's just an infinite amount of knowledge, and so many smart. Yeah. Craig says every subreddit has people who are passionate about their topics of choice, but in winning those people over, you discover that some of them are the most influential people in their niches, and it pays to be on their good side. And that's so true, because they might really enjoy some content that we posted and share it to their authoritative websites because they're authorities in their field, and in turn they give our content topical authority. So
exactly.
I feel like
Oh, sorry.
Quora times 1 million, Craig says.
Yeah, I think Reddit sometimes gets a bad rap, like for the popular subreddits like Pics, and it's full of just like teenagers just kind of saying whatever, but there are a lot of really intelligent professionals on the niche subreddits. So I think it's doing your due diligence to find those subreddits to learn and hopefully be able to promote your content to those people, because like you said, they're the ones that are going to be able to share that with their community as long as they find it to be worthy of sharing, which goes back to the quality thing we were talking about and making sure that what you're sharing is actually up to par with that level of expertise.
Yeah, definitely. We put a lot of time and effort and thought into what we put out there, and it goes through a thorough editing process, and we all take a look at it, and it's just, I feel like we've really perfected. Well, we're always going to be growing and learning, but we've really cultivated our craft in creating content. And I feel like if a piece of content can be successful on Reddit, it can be successful anywhere, really, because it's such a thorough vetting process. People are really intense.
That is a great point. Yes.
One of the questions I had was, do you navigate troll comments on Reddit? But we kind of addressed that. Just kill them with kindness. Don't seem too invested, and yeah, you gotta be flexible. Start over if you have to. Start over on a different subreddit if you have to. Just.
And I think timing of when you post is also very important, and something that we've learned. Depending on the audience, posting early in the morning is better. Sometimes posting in the evening or, lunchtime, depending on when you think that community is most active. So that's something you have to learn on a case-by-case basis, when it's the best time to post, because if you post at the wrong time, it can make a huge difference on how successful that is. Also, if you post too soon after a very successful post, I feel like sometimes it gets lost in the mix. So just being aware of that culture on that particular subreddit.
I'm going to put this quote up. It feels strange to put my own quote up. But one thing I meant to mention was sometimes you can post something on Reddit and it looks like it's showing up in the subreddit, but it might not have ever shown up at all. So what I like to do is I'll go onto a different, I'll look at it. I'll look at that subreddit on a different account and see if it's in that subreddit, and it might not be. So it just means it didn't pass the auto moderating filters or whatever, for whatever reason. That could happen for any reason, really. So either I'll just, if I really feel like the community will really enjoy it, I might message the moderators, but normally I'll just do something different. It's too sometimes, like, you don't want to draw too much attention to yourself.
Right. Choose your battles. Like, if it's worth it, message the mods. If not, just let it go and try something else.
The kind of posts you post to Reddit, they are more like social media posts, right? No, not necessarily. Normally we'll post to our, like, the content that we make for our clients. Where, like, we do a lot of infographics, we do a lot of super content. We put a lot of effort into the content that we create. So we put a lot of information on the page. It's really well optimized. It's just like everything that we create, we go all out on it, and that's the kind of stuff that we post to.
Yeah, I would say the messaging that we post with is very different than social media. I think when we're posting to Reddit, we are looking for a specific angle that actual subreddit would be interested in.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Whereas, like, when I would be posting on social media, it might be more general or but more promotional, something like that. But I think finding that little perfect little tidbit to share on Reddit, like a statistic or I don't know, a specific angle, that performs much more better than just, hey, check this out or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you just want to be like, sometimes in the titles I'll have like a question at the end. I will, or yeah, exactly like you said, find an angle that you feel like will appeal to the subreddit. Like when I'm creating the content, I'll sometimes try to put something like a tidbit on it that I could use as a hook, like that I think is really interesting.
Yeah, and your point about adding a question at the end of it, I think that's a very important part, because Reddit is all about kind of fostering conversation and starting a discussion. So even if the piece of content that you're sharing is not that, the question that you add to it could be a catalyst for conversation.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll also always put a comment in. I'll be like the first one to comment on the post that I make, furthering this discussion. And also, I feel like it looks better to people who are scrolling through to see that there's already a comment on it. Like, I guess this is worth talking about. So,
especially if it's from the original poster, so it shows that you aren't a bot or something that's just churning out posts. It looks like you are contributing to a meaningful full conversation and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's very true. Social media is more like shouting into the void. Reddit is more like sharing an article with people you're hoping will become your friends. That's very true. It's like a forum. It's more like a forum, a targeted forum. Todd Jones asked, well, I mean, you aren't publishing a complete blog post. We're not publishing we're linking to the content. We're linking to the content, and the titles that we make they're all about appealing to that particular subreddit. Like sometimes just the title of the infographic will work, or the title of the content will work. Sometimes you just want to like, hey, this chart says such and such thing. What do you think? Or you take a statistic that's most appealing to that subreddit. Like if it's a location based, like you will take the statistic that's relevant to them and put it in there. 1 in 100 people in Boston, like eat corn dogs in the morning or something. I don't know. Like you just want to find something like an angle that they will find appealing.
That's a new infographic idea.
Yeah. Which cities eat the most corn dogs? So Todd Jones says, so hook plus question plus link. Well, on Reddit, like you can directly post links. Like you can directly post links, and then the hook will be your title, and then you can put the question in the comments, or you can have the question in the title. So the link is just what you're posting. Sometimes
yes, sometimes no. Depends on the content, depends on the subreddit. I think a link to the actual content almost always appears somewhere, whether it's in the direct post or in a comment that we make, just being like, hey, this is where this came from. So again, it's the reading comprehension of that particular subreddit. And
you just look at what's there previously. Look at like the kind of links that made it up there that are being upvoted. If they seem like huge publications and there's no like little guys in there, and then it's better to just take just not use that subreddit, or take an angle where we just post the image, and then in the comments we will like, hey, there's more information here, like, or like this is the credit to the creator. We'll take like a backseat approach and say like, hey, you might like this, and here's who made it in the comments. It all depends. You just got to know your audience. Every subreddit's different. That's that's why it takes so much patience. And I feel like that's also why like so few agencies do Reddit marketing. It takes a lot of finesse. It takes a lot of practice. It's all about context.
Definitely.
You gotta learn the context, and you gotta pay attention. So I feel like that's why a lot of agencies avoid it, and we're braving the storm, the Reddit storms. Well, thank you so much for everyone who came. I hope you found this helpful. Yep. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.